Okay, it's been super hectic today in this house just because of, um, well, my cats are going crazy. Kind of justifiably. Don't have the largest space, and they're both indoor cats. So, I'm trying to stay focused and locked in and calm. But I almost had a fucking aneurysm earlier. Just interacting. Okay, so here's the setup at the moment. We've got, so I think I can super close this, and I'm just going to, I actually don't know what happens if I minimize this. I haven't tried that before. Nothing happens. Okay, so one thing that I can do though is I can just drag it over to a different workspace and hide it. So at the moment, this is what we're working with. It's like base, Hyprland, and technically we have other things enabled. So like Waybar is something that's enabled. Which of these is, so this is my battery. I think that, let me just make sure that I'm not showing anything crazy. Failed to query power profiles daemon via dbus. Okay, well, there's a bajillion things that we need to figure out. One, how do we get some of these programs to start on launch up? That's just a little script, but also how do we configure kind of Hyprland more generally? So these are things that we can easily figure out just from reading the manual, and also looking at some examples. So I've been referencing this Henry Sippo Marksheet Nix configuration for a lot of the things that I've been thinking about and trying to do. It looks like most of these programs that are installed are managed through Home Manager, and I think that's the way that we have to do this, because Hyprland is configured through this Hyprland config file, or .config Hyprland file. And I kind of wasn't fully aware of exactly what Home Manager does. But it manages your doc files. I think what this means is actually you can write and edit a home.nix file. When you compile that, it actually produces all of your dot files for the various programs that you have managed in that home.nix. And so I didn't read any of this before starting to try to use it, and I kind of want to now. The one thing I will say is that, like, I do feel like there's some confliction between maybe trying to use Nix in practice and then trying to use Nix by the book in some sense. So, for example, there's some thing that I just saw in here. So, standalone installation, if you want to do a standalone installation of Home Manager, then you add the appropriate Home Manager channel. you're using Nix packages or an unstable channel, you can run this. And if you follow the 25.05 channel, you can run this. This is actually probably correct. I just haven't thought about channels, and the only things that I've really seen about them online are that it's maybe easier to not use them. I know that these are in my config though. Just at least. Okay, yeah, or whatever. Okay, so Home Manager can be used in 3 primary ways. As a module within the NixOS system configuration, I think this is what we're doing. This allows the user profiles to be built together with the system when running NixOS builds. See NixOS module for description of the setup. Home Manager provides a NixOS module that allows you to prepare user environments directly from the system configuration file, which often is more convenient than using the Home Manager tool. It also opens up additional possibilities, for example, to automatically configure user environments in NixOS declarative containers or on systems deployed through NixOps. So user environments, I think this effectively, I mean, this could mean multiple things, but I guess it means the whole actually, I'm not exactly sure in what context it means. Does it mean, to some extent, like the entire user part of the file tree and everything inside of it? Or does it mean like something more specific? So like when you call an environment variable, is there, if I write env, it'll print out a bunch of my set environment variables. And I wonder if basically user environments actually refer to something more specific. Okay. To make the NixOS module available for use, you must import it into your system configuration. This is most conveniently done by adding Home Manager handle to your root user. It is then possible to add to your system configuration.nix file, which will then introduce a new Nix option called Home Manager.users, whose type is an attribute set that maps user names to Home Manager configurations. Maps user names to Home Manager configurations. Alternatively, Home Manager installation can be done declaratively through configuration.nix using the following syntax. So this is to some extent what our configuration looks like, except for a couple of things. One, we're actually using flakes, so the entire config is imported inside of this flake. Is that true? Let me think. So outputs, god damn, I should probably learn how flakes work too. So flakes are defining, they define our inputs and they define specific outputs. So this is not exactly the way that we're using Home Manager because of also our flake setup. So for inputs, we've got Nix packages pointing to a GitHub walker, points to a GitHub, and then home manager, got an attribute set. The URL is again a GitHub, and then the packages follow Nix packages. The outputs from this flake are some things depending on self, Nix packages, home manager. And so this is some function of these things. It returns this attribute set. So NixOS configurations.nixOS. Equals Nix packages.lib.nixOS system. Our system is this. We've got some special arguments which allows us to inherit inputs. Which are these, I imagine. And then we're gonna build in our NixOS configuration these modules. That's kind of what I think this will mean. So the dot configuration dot nix and also home manager. And home manager is going to use global packages, use user packages. It's going to manage me as a user. And we're going to import some home manager packages, which one of them is given in a home, and the other one is given as a walker, the walker home manager module. I guess, I don't know. I don't know fully, but I guess to some extent, does this mean that anything that's called with like nix packages.walker or home manager.walker is fed just its default value? Not sure. Okay. So in Flakes, one of the outputs is this configuration.nix module, which is going to build our system. So it itself includes the hardware. We've got packages enabled for a bunch of stuff, but Hyprland in particular. And then all these other packages that we want to configure or try to configure. So NeoVim, I kind of want to switch out of Kitty, but I haven't hated it so far. We want to configure Mako, and then maybe Hyperlock and Hyperidle. Okay, and we're also importing home.nix, so what's home.nix? Right now it's just declaring our home directory, I think, or at least pointing to it. And then, yeah, I mean, what is this? Home.username. So I think it depends on how home manager operates with the operating system. Does it just build on top of this, or does it actually build this directory? I think it probably just builds on top of it. We're importing in particular into this home manager configuration a separate Hyprland configuration, so trying to make some things modular, although we're gonna have to do this and go back and forth quite a lot, I think, as we go. We've got a base walker configuration here. I think I might pull that out. Also way bar. So eventually this is probably gonna have imports and then like a walker configuration, way bar configuration. Depends on how much we end up pricing that. So if we, okay, let's check just, fuck, scrolling on this is one thing that I want to change kind of quick. Home Manager is compatible with NixOS, but please be aware that this support is still experimental. Just like in the standard installation, you can use the Home Manager flake in 3 ways. So using the standalone Home Manager tool as an NixOS module, that's the one that we're doing. So to use this as a NixOS module, our bare minimum flake looks like Home Manager URL, home manager.inputs.nixpackages, and outputs. Most of this, so I kind of like the way that their setup is. I'm wondering if mine has to be different, or if, I mean, some of this is like copied off of, you know, things that I found online. So here I have NixOS configurations, and then I have my system in particular. So that's the attribute, which we also don't have self. And then they have their host name, nixpackages.lib.nixOS_system. And they have attributes for system and for modules. I also have special args. Home manager.nixOS. They just have these things. So use global package as true, use user package as true. And then users with imports for Home Manager modules. Huh. So why the self input? The Home Manager configuration is then part of the NixOS configuration is automatically rebuilt with the system when using the appropriate command for the system, such as NixOS rebuild switch. Self input, self argument, Home Manager. here's what I'm gonna do. So just copy this. And this. Fuck. I feel like also Gemini says both files define an NixOS system configuration using flakes, but they differ in their approach to stability, modularity, and how they handle dependencies. The second example represents a more modern and flexible approach. Stability and release channels. The most significant differences are the software channels that they use. Okay, that's, in my mind, not a significant difference. Input handling and modularity. Snippet 2 uses more powerful and common pattern for making flake inputs available to other configurations files. Snippet 2. This flake uses special args. This line makes the entire inputs set available to every module. This makes it trivial to reference other flakes from within your home.nix or configuration.nix. I think, to some extent, this is maybe only needed because we installed Walker, or we're adding Walker through a flake. The difference is direct result of the improved input handling method above. The user's configuration is assigned directly. This is simple but less flexible. Here we have modular imports. Yeah, can you just compare these two lines? So here in my flake I have outputs, and then we've got some function of self, which confuses me always. So I think they accomplish, I think they roughly accomplish the same thing. I just don't get why the self argument in the flake. In Nix flakes, the outputs function is special. Nix automatically calls it with an attribute set containing all of your specified inputs plus a special key named self. The self key refers back to the flake's own outputs. It's useful for self-referencing. This syntax uses what's called an at pattern. Nix packages home manager. This part destructures the incoming arguments. It looks for keys named blah 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 and makes them available as variables inside the function. This part takes the entire set of arguments that is being destructured and assigns it to a single variable. To access self or any other input that's not explicitly listed, you must go through the inputs variable, like inputs.self or inputs.walker. Okay. Access self or any other input that's not explicitly listed. I'm not necessarily referring to self though, right? I don't think. This is the more complete and common way to write it. This destructures the arguments just like before, but it also explicitly pulls out self into its own variable. So inside this function, you can use self directly, you can use Nix packages home. You still have the inputs variable available to pass the whole collection of inputs somewhere else. Is self even available, or is it referenced? In the second example. So when I call NixOS configurations.nixOS as an attribute set, this is the one thing that I don't necessarily get. So let me think. Maybe this is actually a function. It's not. There's no colon. So when I call Nix configurations.nixOS as an attribute set, I'm assigning it a value of, it seems like another attributes set. Nixpackages.lib.nixOS system. And then the colon, I'm not sure. You would use self to refer to other inputs from your own flake. Other outputs from your own flake. For example, if you defined a custom package or an overlay within the same flake.nix file, you would reference it like so. So I would have outputs as self. So if I made some custom package, then I would do NixOS configurations.nixOS is nixpackages.lib. Then I'd have a module where I've got this function. I think this is actually a module itself. So I would essentially include this module that takes environment.system.packages and has self.packages.this script. So if my outputs are going to build this script, then in my configuration I want to reference the script Here we use self to get our own package. So while not strictly necessary for the example given, including self is a good habit. Is there an example where it is necessary? I kind of doubt that. An overlay allows you to modify or add packages to Nix packages without maintaining a whole separate fork. Let's say you want to build the text editor NeoVim with a specific patch. We create an overlay as one of our Flake's outputs. And then we define our NixOS configuration, which uses the build that we just made, I guess. The overlay that we just made. In your scenario, you would add a patch file here. For example, we're just changing the name and the version. I think to some extent I want to make it a little bit simpler if I can. So, like I want to do this, I think. So what type is the host name attribute? So this to me is another attribute, but then you have this curly brace. So I just don't know the syntax between this, unless NixOS system blah is something. It's a Nix derivation, okay. Specifically a NixOS system configuration. It's not a simple string or number, instead it's the results of nix packages.lib.nixOS system function call, which takes all of our module files and evaluates them to produce a complete description of the entire operating system. Alright, let's edit this then. So I'm gonna just delete this, and I'm also going to put inputs at here instead of over there, and I think that oh yeah, there's the append key, I forgot about this. So okay, so then there's this system call, this function call nixpackages.lib.nixOS system, and then we've got rest of things like this, I guess. I'm missing one more though, because I just did this. So what I add? I added NixOS configurations, which closes where? So just one more down here. Okay, that's at least just for my own readability. Now, so now let's see if we know the logic behind it, right? So we've got flake.nix. This is what's called in order to build our system to some extent. This is the first thing I think that's referenced. So it defines specific inputs for what is going to be the project of this flake, and then it's going to build these specific outputs from those inputs. We'll have the system call, which will build the system based off of this. So we're importing modules, which are going to make up our system, our configuration.nix, and whatever's going to be in Home Manager. And in Home Manager, we're inputting specifically to the Owen, me, user, our home.nix file, and also Walker, so inputs.walker, which is a Home Manager module with all of its default values. And I guess it gets that from this walker.url. So I guess I could just I mean, I could get rid of inputs here and add Walker up here. Is that what happens in Henry's? So in Henry Sips Omarchi Nix, this is the config, I think. And what is called to make that? I guess maybe that was it. So flake, right? Alright, this flake has some inputs: Nix packages, Hyprland, Nix colors, Home Manager. And then has these outputs of self, Nix packages, Hyprland, Nix colors, Home Manager. Also doesn't reference self, but that's fine. Maybe if someone wanted to, maybe if someone wanted to reference the flake, maybe that's why self is included. I mean, Gemini says something else, but Yeah, fuck it. Okay. So, now we kind of want to get into actually editing Hyprland to some extent. So, most of this I think is similar to what I have. And then imports into the Hyprland config is just Hyprland configuration, which inputs an auto start, bindings, environments, input, look and feel, and then the Windows itself. So we can specify default applications. One thing that I think could be true is that okay, so I think I have to go to the actual Hyprland documentation in order to figure out how we configure this. So this is going to walk us through the config file, every option and function that's in it, extending functionality via scripts, and some uncommon tips and tricks. So our config file is located, this is true too, in here. So I should have maybe wait before I keep on looking at this. Okay, so there's a whole bunch of stuff in here that we can edit and adjust. For our terminal, are we going to use Kitty? Not sure. For file manager, are we going to use Dolphin? Also not sure. For menu, are we going to use Wofi? I think we're going to use actually Walker, which is something that we installed. Okay. In most cases, that maps to exactly where I just found it. You can tell Hyprland to use a specific configuration file by using config, the config argument. Hyprland will automatically generate an example config for you if you don't have one. You can find an example by removing the containing auto-regenerated equals 1. You'll remove the yellow warning. One thing that I haven't fully figured out is Right, so how does Home Manager actually generate a config? Home Manager is a Nix power tool for reproducible management of the contents of users' home directories. This includes programs, configuration files, environment variables, and, well, arbitrary files. Following example snippet of Nix code would make available to a user the get executable and man pages in a configuration file like .config get config. Since Home Manager is implemented in Nix, it provides several benefits. Contents blah 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 blah. Okay, so we want to know how, well, I want to know how Home Manager is going to know in this Hyprland configuration, kind of what to generate and where it's going to generate it. It's just what I'm wondering. So I'm gonna look at all of these and just see what's kind of in every one of them, I think. And also maybe go into here, so inputs, config packages, imports, this, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so I think maybe in the Hyprland maybe Hyprland just knows, configures Hyprland and adds it to your user's path, but does not make certain system changes such as adding a desktop session file. If you want to use the Home Manager module while using the Hyprland package you've defined in your NixOS module, you can now do so as long as you're running Home Manager or later. This version or later by setting your package and portal package to null. Make sure not to mix versions of Hyprland and XDPH. If your NixOS config uses Hyprland for the flake, you should also use this from the flake. You can override the package through the override. I wish that okay, so I probably just don't know how to look for it. All right. I think we can just try to start making this to some extent. So we'll go to Hyprland and we're going to start messing with some of the defaults. So in this Hyprland config, looks like there's imports to bindings, environments, auto start, input, look and feel, and I'm not against doing each of these separately to some extent too. So lib.makeDefault. This was something that I was actually trying to think about, and then I got kind of distracted, which was making these things default. So lib.makeDefault, is that doesn't look like Nix, right? So the config is located in here. In most cases that maps to this thing. You can tell Hyprland is to use a specific thing by removing this line. You'll remove the yellow warning. The config is reloaded the moment you save it. However, you can use hyperctl reload to reload the config manually. Start a section with name, bracket, and end it with bracket in separate lines. The default config is not complete and does not list all the options, features of Hyprland. Okay, make sure to read the variables page as well. It covers all the toggleable numerical values. See the Hyprlang page? Hyprlang is a library that implements parsing for the hyper configuration language. Syntax, line style. Every config line is a command followed by a value. The command can be a variable or a special keyword. Variables are like options, while keywords are like commands. Options can be specified only once, while commands invoke some behavior every time they are defined. Categories can be regular and special, both are specified by the same. Special categories can have other properties, like for example containing a key. This is like defining two groups, one with key A, another with B. Variables can be defined using the $sign. Comments are started with a pound. If you want to specify an option inline without opening and closing a category, the separator is colon. If the category is special and requires a key, you can do category, key value, variable value. There's some very basic arithmetic operations that you can do on your variables with the double brackets. You can do these things on only two variables. You cannot nest them, but you can use intermittent variables. It's interesting. You only have two sides of the operation, so yeah, it's binary, and you have to specify that. And both sides either exist as numeric variables or numeric themselves. And you have spaces around the operator. Oh, this is just no spaces. Okay, there's also if statements. All right. Can't nest ifs. It's actually a pretty big project, which is pretty impressive. So what was I gonna do? I wanted to have specific imports somewhere in here. Also settings, and then I wanted to find out what lib.make default was. Fucking cannot understand how to scroll, which is the most annoying thing. I just need to invert scrolling. So this one's got an auto start, bindings, environments, input, look and feel, and windows. So what are all of these? So environments, cursor size, cursor theme, force all apps to use Wayland, make Chromium, use Xcompose in all Wayland. Auto start starts some of these I think kind of crucial components to what we think the system should look like. So we'll add some of these stuff in here. Can I even right click? I can. But not in the terminal. That's fine. Wonder if that was pasting. Bindings, so these are just key binds. Input, keyboard layout, follow mouse, sensitivity, touchpad, natural scrolls, false. This is actually what I want to have. So we're going to come on. So do I want to just follow this setup, having Hyprland with a bunch of its configurations just in like this, and then that's fine with me. So we'll do input, and then we're going to edit input. And also inside the Hyprland configuration, we're going to import this. So this will be an input.nix. And we're going to right quit that. And up here, then I want to just also check that I'm including it into home. Yeah. So eventually it'll all get put into my home config. This is kind of an interesting thing to me that I don't really understand. Config.omarchi. Why is CFG even like anywhere around here? So CFG.quick app bindings. That's an example. Maybe because this is a library specifically. I guess we'll find out. Okay, so first things first, let's go to input, and let's just try something silly. So we're going to we'll put in config lib and packages. So I actually want to figure that out, I guess. It's kind of a vague prompt, but let's see. So in this NixOS configuration, lib is a collection of utility functions provided by the Nix packages library. Think of it as a standard library for writing Nix code, giving you tools to manipulate data and manage configurations. The config lib packages at the top declares a function that accepts a set of standard arguments. Lib is one of these alongside config, which represents the final merged configuration of your entire NixOS system, and packages, which represents all of the packages in Nix packages. In this specific example, there's a call to lib.makeDefault. This function is used to set a default value for an option with a low priority. It's a way of saying, unless the user specifies something else with a higher priority elsewhere, use this value. This is extremely useful for creating modular and reusable configurations. It allows you to find sensible defaults in one file while giving the user freedom to easily override this in their main configuration.nix file without causing an error. In your code, and the code that I put in here, the input settings are wrapped in lib.makeDefault. This sets the default keyboard value. In the main configuration, we could have Wayland, Window Manager, Hyprland settings, and we could have set this value manually. So options, Wayland, Window Manager, Hyprland. Looks like Hyprland configuration written in Nix. Entries with the same key should be written as lists. Variables, colors, names should be quoted. See here for more examples. Okay, I don't think that lib is necessarily important then. Also, is it available in any of my... No? I didn't include it, so I don't think it really matters. So we'll do this. And then we'll just define Wayland, Window Manager, Hyprland, Settings, and try input. So we're gonna do natural scroll specifically. Oh, okay. So we try that, and then let's just try NixOS rebuild switch. So what am I doing? Okay, Flake, Path, etc. NixOS does not provide attribute packages, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, this is from what I changed earlier, I think. So... So Flake, Path, etc. NixOS does not provide attribute packages, x84, x86, 64, Linux. NixOS configurations.nixos.config.systembuild.nixos rebuild. This is when we do a good old. Actually, don't know if this will copy anything. Let's start anew. Okay, what about if I actually try copying it? It's kind of interesting that I couldn't copy from NeoVim when I was on KDE Plasma. Maybe it's because I activated some settings in the middle, in the meantime. Not sure. I can do it now though, which is what I'm saying is funny. So while Gemini thinks about this, we can think about it too. So NixOS configurations. I think I fucked this up because my host name itself no longer exists in here, and it did before. So I could actually go. Let's see. Where was it? System. Okay, so I had NixOS configurations.nixOS. Now, I feel like, so somewhere in here, maybe I just didn't declare. There should be basically I'm missing, I think, my host name somewhere. I don't think that this is the issue. I could be wrong. This is really incorrect. This is almost what I think is the issue. Is just host name actually should have been a true host name. So let's try, I guess, rebuilding. So what failed? The following new units were started. Blah, blah, blah. Warning, the following units failed. Home manager services. Move or remove the above files and try again. Standalone mode, use home manager switch backup to backup files automatically. When used as a NixOS or NixDarwin module, set this. Home manager. Oh, and okay, how do I print the error codes? Or how do I like see stack trace, see the error? Okay, I don't know necessarily why I put inputs first. I don't think it matters. So Gemini lies. That's not so surprising. Could have put Walker up here, I agree. And then gotten rid of that. I kind of like that actually more. Maybe I wouldn't if I had like 700 different outputs, but I don't at the moment. Okay, so we're actually going to do this. Put in Walker and get rid of inputs dot Walker. Then just make sure. And finally, let's just try this. So, it's not clear to me. Actually, this is a great debugger. Because move or remove the above files to try again. I think the thing that is kind of fucked to me is that this is the thing that failed, and I don't have any idea what this is without maybe going and looking at it. So let's look at it over here. Okay, so it actually works. There's nothing that's like sensitive in here, so I can pull it over and just show you. But wait, I liked how it looked here before I dropped it. So basically, yeah, like Gemini just informed me. Home Manager tried to construct this config file, but it already existed, and because of that, there was an error. And that's going to be a little bit of a issue just because Hyprland is currently functioning in the background, I assume, on this computer. And I also want to edit it so that these files eventually get merged. If I go to see what's here, there's a bunch of stuff. And I guess what I'm gonna do is try to kind of copy this a little bit, and then I guess I'm gonna what I'm gonna try to do is I'm gonna try to copy basically everything that's in there, so that at least once we go to make the next configuration, I can like delete the old one, make the new one, and it won't change anything potentially. Yeah, I'm also going to do this too. I guess I'm going to back up old configurations. If that's something that Home Manager can do. Okay, it's getting to a point where I kind of want to eat something. So I'm gonna, I think, probably be right back and then grab some food and then I'll be back to trying to edit this configuration. Okay, so while I eat, I'm gonna just kind of read, I think, on the side, some of maybe the Hyprland config, just to see what is an option. Or go through some of the stuff that Henry Sip did. So you'll probably see me in just a bit after that. But I'm gonna turn the camera off, I think, this time. Okay. So, effectively, I guess we just have to start loading some of this stuff up. Let's try doing this backup file extension first. So this is in Home Manager in my Flake. And we'll write this, and we're not going to execute it. We're going to try to configure the rest of Hyprland's configuration effectively before we start changing anything. So I think I'm going to use just these all as so I've got input. I'm gonna make the rest of them real quick. So we're gonna do touch monitors .nix, touch programs .nix. Okay, sudo monitors, sudo touch programs .nix. Sudo touch auto start .nix, sudo touch environment vars.nix, sudo touch got input already. I'm gonna need look and feel, but permissions is next. Fuck. We got input, so key bindings. And the last one is Windows and workspaces. And then here we'll go CD into Hyprland, CD, LS, my bad. Fuck. And here we'll go back to this, and then we'll just import all of these things. So we're gonna input auto start. environment variables. Key bindings. Look and feel. Monitors. Permissions. Programs. And windows and workspaces. Okay, and now we have to start kind of converting some of these things into those. It's not clear to me, for example, so monitors, we have preferred auto. I went and looked up, I mean, we were reading the configuration, so this is just some list of 4 params that are set. The question is, how do we basically write this as a Nix file? So we kind of just do it as strings, huh? I don't think I need any of that, but so we're gonna see what happens when I try doing all of this, I guess. So this one's just gonna be a terminal. Do I even have Dolphin installed? Okay, we're gonna put something like this. I wonder what will happen. Just empty Nix file. So there's nothing in here either? There's a few things in here. I think we're just gonna copy this. Fuck. Okay. Could see that causing an error just for whatever reason. Oh shit, yeah, I put these in settings, huh? Are these all found in settings? Yeah, they are. Ugh. That means that I have to probably go back and set these all as like, it's like settings for this thing. That's not the end of the world, but I forgot. What's on mine? We're just not going to include that one. Okay, so now we need to put this inside of Wayland's dot window manager attribute. I kind of don't even give a shit that I don't know. I think this just tabbed everything, but I bet you there's a way to make it so that that is spaces instead of instead of tabs, but I don't know if I care. Also, I wonder if it even matters, like if the syntaxing in I wonder if this one matters. I mean, there's nothing in here, but assuming that there would be at some point, I would put something like this. Yeah, I wonder if there's like syntaxing, like it matters if I have tabs instead of spaces for some of these things. Like in YAML, right? That shit's all fucked up. If I have the wrong vertical space. But I haven't really noticed that there's vertical space or like column spacing requirements in Nix so far, at least. Oh, still there. Okay. We're juicing. What's after input? Key bindings, I think. And then the last one is Windows. Okay. I think that's everything for actually the window rule. I wonder if there was something about okay, wait, window rule, float class, let me see. That's commented, suppress, maximize class. No focus class, X wayland, floating 1. Okay, it's all good. So now if we try to rebuild, something should happen. Something will happen anyway, I guess. We'll either error or we'll get... The only thing that we actually changed from our original config and the new one is natural scrolling. And it looks like it loaded. So now the big question, do we have natural scrolling? I actually don't know. I guess not, right? So let me look up. Let me just look up like a GIF or something. There's a feature on touchpads and touchscreens where the content on the screen moves in the same direction as your finger on the input device. So wait, so actually I wanted this set to false, not true. So... So false would hopefully do inverted scrolling, which is what we want. And if this one doesn't work, then we'll look and see if there's an inverted scrolling option in Hyprland. Dude, going down goes up now? No, wait. Going up goes up, going down goes down. I actually can't tell if that changed at all. I don't think it did. Fuck. Yeah, I don't think it did because I'm still fucking up on this a little bit. So let's see what the configuring. It's either variables or keywords. So inverted. Invert scrolling direction when enabled. Scrolling moves content directly rather than manipulating scroll bar. So I think that calling NixOS rebuild is maybe excessive. I've never used Home Manager Switch. And I kind of want to see if maybe let's just fucking reboot it. See if that changes anything. So what could be happening is that the same config is being used, even though hopefully we've generated a new one. Oh, it goes the right way this time. I think that's really cool. So that means that we're like, all right. So now we're in the position where we can actually start doing stuff. I think I'm gonna leave this. Let's see what it is though. Yeah. Okay. I wonder if it will back up again if we run Home Manager. I had already done it a couple times, so I imagine that it actually won't. Okay, so now we're just actually ricing. I mean, it took, I don't know how long the stream's been going on for, like hours to get to the point where we actually get to try ricing. But better late than ever. That's kind of what I would think. Okay, so what do we want? We want like a functional, we want a bunch of shit. We want like a functional taskbar. We want a functional file manager. A lot of these things are just like setting keybinds, I think. So like keybind to launch Walker, or do I have Wofi installed? Not a command, that's great. So we want to set some of these defaults. I wonder what is started on execute here. Okay, so WO clip. I've been kind of wondering what this actually is, Because I had it at some point. It just wasn't clear to me. Command line copy paste utilities. Well, we're gonna install it. So on startup, we're gonna have a couple of things present. So we'll have I wonder what this one is. Don't know. Okay. Can you start bash also? Through a different terminal? Is Kitty just kind of like a wrapper on top of bash? Like, how do I check my shell? I can just echo shell, find the variable. So let's make a new one. Okay. Maybe I could have known that. That wasn't important. Okay. Okay, what are we executing? We're executing... Actually, I kind of wanted to find out what the and was for, you know? Like... And what is hyper idle? Hyper idle is like if my machine idles for some amount of time. Okay, fuck it. We're doing it just like this, I think. Hyper idle, Mako, Waybar, Hyper sunset. System CTL, huh? Do they have that installed specifically? I don't actually know what this one does. So pkill, do you have to execute pkill sig us r2 waybar or waybar? Is this just piping this into the command waybar? So you type in waybar and it just kills it instead of opening it? Nope. Okay, so it finds a process by the name waybar. It sends a specific signal, which is sig usr2, to the process. For waybar application receiving this special instruction, reload its configuration style sheet. This means if the first command fails, then run the second one, which is if pkill fails, so it can't find waybar, then it runs waybar. So scenario 1, waybar is already running, in which case it reloads. Scenario 2, it's not running, in which case it just loads it up. Okay, then I'll include that actually. Okey-doke. So bindings are something that I think are kind of important, mainly because I don't really know any of the Hyprland bindings right at this moment already. So we want to figure out what a good set of key bindings are for this. I feel like I don't understand this kill active shit. Like, none of this actually... Oh, wait, it's because that's not my current key bindings. That's why I don't understand it. So let's see. Kill active is C. Super M is exit. Okay. So let's do another one of these. And where am I going to put this? So I want to figure out what my current defaults are. I know that it's in one of these programs, I think. And we're gonna edit them, because I think, so, let's start another call walker, open up Firefox, exit out of this. And then, kind of wonder how you can exit a terminal without like actually caring that there's something running in it. Or is it only like you can, I mean, because anytime I open a terminal, closing it always asks me if I want to exit or not. Which is fine. I think it's probably safer that way, but what was I doing? Oh, a March Unix is what we've been looking at. I'm gonna get some water. So inside of Home Manager, we should see some defaults. So there's a bunch of stuff here. What are we looking for though? We're looking for where the default programs are defined in this Hyprland. Okay, don't have any idea what I just did there. So default applications show up like this for this Omarchi setup. What are we gonna do? We're going to edit them. So, okay, file manager is set to Dolphin, and I don't even know how to open the fucking file manager. So at the moment it's Super E. Let's try it over here. Okay, I don't have currently a file manager installed. Makes me wonder if this is specified in the config here. So Nautilus. That one actually is installed. Okay, so we're gonna add that, and we'll make this Dolphin versus Nautilus. Which one's better? Why is this 18 plus? That was a surprise. Oh, Linus Tech Tips. I don't. So, thought it was Linus Torvalds. I was actually kind of interested. Dolphin and Nautilus are both popular file managers for Linux, but they cater to different user preferences. Dolphin, part of the KDE Plasma desktop environment, is known for its rich feature set, extensive configuration options, and power user focus. Nautilus, the default manager for GNOME, prioritizes simplicity and ease of use, offering a more streamlined experience. Dude, what is fucking closing out? I can't tell. Is it like a double click or is it like... What the fuck did I just open up also? Okay, I don't know if I care. We're gonna do, I think also, I think we might do Dolphin Eye actually. Okay. We're doing it again. Just took a while. Sorry. So okay. What was I doing? So I wanted to install Dolphin. Or Nautilus? Which one is the GNOME extension? GNOME is Nautilus, right? So we'll do Nautilus. We're going to write that, and in the meantime, I'm going to open up something here and go to Etsy, NixOS. Config, and we're going to add Nautilus to the packages list. Okay. And we'll do new window also, I think. No, we'll try it out first like this. I cannot understand what this is doing. Opens Chromium browser. I think the thing that doesn't make any sense to me on that is just that, like, Chromium, I would have expected for a browser to actually have like a specific one, meaning something like Firefox or Chrome. I don't know if Chrome goes by Chromium. Maybe that's the thing. So Chromium, the command to run the Chromium web browser. That is a web browser that I just didn't know. And we could do new window. It's fine. So I'm also going to put in here browser. And I guess it's going to be Firefox for the moment. Although I want to switch that to something else. What is Ozone? This is a crucial flag for Hyprland users. It forces Chromium to run natively on Wayland instead of through X-Wayland, a compatibility layer. This generally results in better performance, proper scaling, and smoother integration. Can Chromium safely be switched? And I don't know what Drun is. So I would rather have for keybinds, I'd rather have D here. exit I do not understand for Hyprland. Like I don't want that to be an option to some extent. Fuck. And I don't understand why I'm closing shit when I type when I'm like trying to click on stuff. So we'll do Mo's enable Wayland instead. I wonder if this is true also for Brave, for the Zen browser, which is the thing that we've actually been using on the main desktop. And then instead of Wofi, we're gonna do Walker. I don't know what showed run is though. Zen is built off of Chromium? I thought that it was Firefox. Yeah, what? I feel like okie doke. Why did I download anything there? It's kind of annoying because like I think that there's like click and drag that's making my inputs do some stuff because like there's no. All right, I have to figure that out at some point. Like, I actually don't know what just happened. I click. And maybe I'm just too close to this, and it's like... I kind of don't know if I... Cancel. What is this actually? This looks like Nautilus to me actually. Okay, let's ignore some of this. We're gonna ignore this also. And menu. Okay, file manager is gonna be with F. And menu is going to be, I kind of want it to just be super, honestly. So click and drag is all fucked up right now. We are going to right quit this shit and we're going to go to inputs. Here we're going to right quit and exit. Okay, we'll try doing NixOS rebuild. And I'm going to what was that file? What was the file? It's crazy that it's not possible to immediately tell me where that was. Programs. Just wasn't looking at the right. Just wasn't looking at the right place. So touchpad with Hyprland. Okay, I think we're gonna try rebooting, seeing what happens. So I think Waybar should be activated. I think that we should now have a shortcut to, assuming that I didn't overwrite anything, we should have a shortcut to File Manager. Our terminal shortcut should now be Super T. Hopefully, Super by itself is just like Walker Explorer. What else did we change? Firefox is browser, which we can access using Super B, potentially. So let's see. Oh, we have two-way bars. That doesn't seem right. Okay. Super T is a terminal. Great. Super B. Didn't do anything. Super F. It's File Explorer. Okay. And Super. Okay, just Super doesn't do anything. Okay. So let's go to Etsy, NixOS, and let's also open up another one of these called Walker. Open that thing. So why did I have two-way bars starting up is one thing that I'm kind of curious about. Hey! How's it going? I feel like it's because of this execute command, kind of. Oh, I could probably just remove waybar from that and then the execute. This execute at the bottom will probably take care of it, so. I think that you want on my laptop? Yep. I think that the reason why, so I think the reason why this doesn't execute the menu, for example, is so I didn't change the browser. I thought that was maybe one thing. And the reason why I don't think this executed the menu is because there's a modifier and then a performer button. So we basically deleted the actual button that calls, and we left the modifier there. So you just modify, and then you can't call maybe because there's nothing set for calling. What else? So I don't necessarily get why I would call exit. Just doesn't make any sense to me. I guess maybe you want something like something closes and you want to reload, and so you exit. But or maybe the idea is that you have a desktop environment and you just run this over that in some ways. This cat is so cute, but he gets in your arms and then he's just fucking biting the shit out of me. Like, he just likes to bite. Okay. And you're back. So there's no way for me to currently execute. So I want to find out, how do I execute? I can maybe figure out how to do this by looking through the Hyprland menu, but we can look at that after. So that was a fucking weird symbol. Huh. don't need to have that. So I can just do this. See if it switches. What was the other thing that I wanted to do? Wonder what hyper control is. That actually didn't help at all. So 29 is zoom factor, 1.7 quick. No such animation. We're gonna close, and we're gonna go into previous sky. And try to find also there's fade quick. Was it zoom though, wasn't it? Zoom factor. Let's go. And just yank that. Actually, we're gonna do, just see if there's anything else that conflicts. Oh yeah, this isn't a directory. And then down here, we'll do one more. Okay, animations at least. Let's see. This here we got ease out quint. Ease in cubic. Linear, almost linear, and quick. Animation. We got global. We got border. We got windows. We got windows in, we got windows out. We got fade in, fade out. Fade. Layers. Layers in, layers out. Fade layers in, fade layers out. Workspaces, workspaces in. Workspaces out. Zoom factor. There actually is a zoom factor once. Now I'm kind of confused. Because that was what was specified as being. Oh wait, this is my. Oh, this I was fucking looking at the wrong one. There is no zoom factor. Fade layers in, fade layers out. Workspaces, workspaces in, workspace out. Fade layers in. Looks like there's a lot less. Global border, windows, windows in, windows out. Fade in, fade out. Fade layers, layers in, layers out. Blah, 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 blah. Workspace, zoom factor. Okay, just delete this one. Okay. My bad. Quit. Great. And now if I do this, I open up Walker. Awesome. Okay. Also, needs to enable it so that hitting okay, needs to enable it so that hitting escape will close Walker. Oh, wait, it does. So why was that not working? Because I wasn't over it, huh? Huh. Oh, it's because it doesn't focus. My god. That's kind of annoying, actually. I think that the focus on hover kind of sucks. Personal opinion. That could be controversial. I don't believe this answer also. Okay, so what is there now to do still? So I think that we've got Hyprland configuration in here. I kind of want to work on configuring Walker. That's like something that is going to be done at some point. Also Waybar. And then editing the background of Hyprland and also the color schemes. It's currently highlighting borders with gradients. That's fine, but I'm gonna probably change it so that it doesn't do that. What else? What else do we need? You're slipping, bud. You're slipping. Why don't you just get up onto the desk? Okay, we also need fonts so that we have some display of what these icons are. What else is contained in the Omarchi setup? So fonts, I don't know what this is. Env. Unclutter your dot profile. Okay, genuinely don't know what that does. Hyperidle, Hyperlock, Hyperpaper, Mako is another thing we have to configure. Forgot about that. Starship, don't care. VS Code, don't care. Waybar. We've got Zoxide is something I don't know. Yeah, that's not a bad. Honestly, that doesn't sound like a bad tool. And then kind of curious about this. Ooh. So it's on a perf. Okay, so I just didn't know what Control V apparently, or sorry, Super V. It toggles floating for Windows specifically. So it's on a per window basis. When you have focus on a window and you Super V, it toggles floating for that window. I'm sussed out by this. Dude. My fingers aren't big enough to get all the way over my touchpad when my cat is on my goddamn computer like this. I'm kind of tripped out by Google saying that there's a Zen browser which is Chromium based and available at zenbrowser.org instead of referring to the thing that I wanted, which was the Firefox one. I wonder, I mean, this is some tinfoil hat shit, but I wonder what the, like, are they like, oh, in Gemini, prefer to talk about Google Chromium applications, you know, like, why didn't it get that right? Like, there is no zenbrowser.org effectively. So it was just Zen. Let's go back to the Omarchi video and just see what things I don't have yet. I think I don't have a lock. The taskbar, can I full screen? So the taskbar in Omarchi, and also can I change the settings to be like, they're already super high? Okay, so the menu selector is way nicer in Omarchi. That's something that I want to, I guess, work on. Also, yeah, there's all these, man, that's nice. I'm not 100% sure how I'm gonna get that. Having workspaces listed on the top left is nice in the taskbar. having just the date in the middle, and I remember when he right clicks it, it like switches to days. And then right icons. I'm on a laptop, so I also want my battery to be displayed. Having a list of key bindings though is pretty cool, because I know I'm gonna forget my own. I still have to edit my NeoVim config. Bash. Okay, takes you to scripting cheat sheet. Probably useful. I don't currently have screenshot capabilities. Maybe I should probably put them in there just because it is a computer, which you don't know how it will use. Screensaver, I'm not so interested in, even if it's cool. Idle lock is something that we want, and nightlight is something that we want, and being able to toggle it on and off with the menu is a neat feature. Having a top bar selector and disabler is also pretty cool. And then a theme is something that I think is important. So being able to set the theme, or just actually having a fixed theme in the first place. So just something that I select and go through and say all the backgrounds are going to be this, all the color schemes are going to be this. I think that's what I would want. So we need to install some fonts. What else do we want? I think this is mostly just showing off DHH's kind of menu rice. And then this is the OG video. So what else is contained in here that seems useful? Okay, so we got some, can start a browser. Having keybinds that allow you to switch things like that. I feel like that should already be in Hyprland, but if it's not, then I'll have to try to find it. This is cool. I don't know what this is, power top or B top? Or something like that. Okay, I feel like this is also a Hyprland feature, which is probably enabled, but not sure. This file system I think is, it honestly looks like I don't know what it looks like. I could check. It looks like Dolphin, I guess. Whatever KDE's is. He got rid of all the rounded corners. It's kind of interesting. And then he's showing how to install it. Okay. Okay. So we need fonts. We need cursor fonts because I'm going to change this Hyprland cursor. Probably I'm going to change the roundedness on the windows. It was going to be slightly less round. I don't know how less round you can actually get before you just go full square. The focus I think I'll change, and then there's things that like I just don't understand. So like this is my right click, like nothing's happening. And I think it's probably just gonna be a long time. So, and honestly watching kind of the second to last video from DHH on Amarchi and its menu themes, or like the menu selector. I think that, yeah, I think I could probably do this for a long time, and never be done. So at some point we'll have to call it good, but I think until then I'm gonna stop for today with just, here's the current setup, and we have to do some more ricing. I'll do that later, at least start it later. I'm in a spot where now I can see the way forward, and at least what needs to be done is interacting with like specific applications. So Hyprland, Waybar, Walker, and maybe finding some small things that actually will make quality of life a little bit better, like things I can add to my Nix packages. Okay, so thanks for joining again, I guess. And I'll